Some tips and tricks for those raiding monks in.
Fist of Fury. It's go time.
Now, speaking about our favorite encounter in Highmaul, especially if you're a Windwalker, Twin Ogron. Oh, I love this guy. So, we'll go over the Mistweaver stuff first, because I'm sure the Windwalkers want to just talk our ears off about this one. Wind talkers.
Such a good fight.
Put up Storm and Fire and
Yep.
be at the top of the
Babysit.
meters.
Yep.
Babysit it.
All right, so for Mistweavers...
So now that we've covered the Windwalkers.
Yeah. For Mistweavers, there's not really too much here special. It's a lot of movement in the area, depending on if your team does kind of like a stack versus two stacks. This is a fight where Chi Torpedo could actually come in very useful, since you're having to do a lot of rolls back and forth to get away from fire. You could be healing, and that's a lot of healing that has to go out during that time, so every little bit helps. I tend to use Life Cocoon here on the tank that is about to go out for Whirlwind. Just helps them keep up a little bit longer. They're usually taking a couple stacks of fire as well, so good time to use it. So for talents and glyphs, the only one I usually go for, Chi Torpedo is useful. Diffuse Magic is also one that I choose, and it'll be nice to have an interesting conversation with whoever put in Dampen Harm here, because I think both of them have their uses. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Let's go to Brewmasters.
All right, I guess I'll start here. So the big thing for Brewmasters is we're a really good Femos tank, because you need to move them out for Whirlwinds and then move them back otherwise. So while tanking Femos, you can have like your Transcendence to wherever you choose to move him, whether that be off to the side somewhere, or you're parking him in the middle because you like to play Dance Dance Revolution / Tuhu while you're playing the game, while he's whirlwinding. Whatever your fancy, but you can have your Transcendence there so you don't have to run through fire, and you just pop up where you need to go, and he comes right to you like 5 to 10 seconds before he actually starts whirlwinding. You'll also probably want to guard during it, as well as having Elusive Brew for his whirlwind, because you can dodge the spins even though the debuff stacks on you, and you can basically sit out there and be self-sufficient. It's wonderful. And it kind of goes without saying, if he's not whirlwinding, pull him on top of pole, keg smash, declare your victory with Chi Explosion as you cleave them. Go ahead, Adam. I'll let you do talents.
You're going to let me do talents. One thing I'm going to say real quick about Transcendence, is make sure a raid marker gets put where you're transcending to. Otherwise, your healers have a hard time following you. Like, we said where we're going to go. I put my thing down, and I would Transcendence there, and then it was like, I don't have a healer, because they didn't realize it just popped over there. So mark your little territory of Transcendence is key for at least my raid team. That helped, and that's what let us eventually take them down, because the healer was ready for me. Talent choices. I like healing elixirs, personally, because just a little bit extra healing here and there, and if I drop low, it gives me the healing. So that's the one that I've chosen. Which one have you gone with, LeBlue? Do you go?
So when I was learning the fight on Mythic particularly, because the fire hurts just a smidge more, Diffuse Magic is great if you consistently are taking stacks. That could be whether you suck at fire, putting it bluntly, or you need to do a lot of emergencies. I need to get Femos out now because my melee won't move away from him kind of moves, so you run through fire. So usually if you get like 3 or 4 stacks, you pop Diffuse Magic, and for 8 seconds you just kind of giggle at the damage. That's why I say it's either one. If you're better at dodging fire, healing elixirs, I agree. But the option is there for Diffuse Magic.
Yeah, especially on normal mode. The fire doesn't do that much damage.
Doesn't. You can dance in it, and you're probably fine.
Exactly. So level 90 Zuen, kind of help out with the damage. Recently my team's been really good about getting their damage up, but especially the first time we took them down, any little bit of damage taking out that I could do was great, and that included going with Chi Explosion. I've been running Chi Explosion pretty much on every fight. And this one, it even makes more sense, because at 4, guess what? You get to cleave some damage onto the other boss as well. So nothing but good things for Chi Explosion nowadays. Nothing but good things.
Bag it up, sick boys. We're good for that one. Serenity is great if you are new, if you want to focus solely on defense. Damage isn't an issue. If you just hit 100, Serenity's good. But darn it, if you have any modicum of gear, just go Chi Explosion, cleave, and be the scumbag that all Brewmaster monks were meant to be, because Blizzard will probably keep buffing us anyway. So, huzzah.
So that pretty much does it for, I think, the talent choices and little tricks. I mean, it's a great fight for us, I think. We get to use kind of a lot of different things. I don't find a lot of times we can use Transcendence.
There's been a couple this tier,
There's a
actually.
couple.
I've been very impressed.
This one is like the one.
Yeah, this is
That you
one of the
won't
better
need to.
ones, definitely. I can think of a couple others, but this is definitely a good one. So have fun playing DDR with the fire.
I love that game.
Well,
You
speaking of-
would.
All right. Windwalkers, go ahead and talk our ears off. Let's go.
When do you start, Duke? Because I did the whole breaking the PvP news.
Sure. So, if you're not using Storm, Earth, and Fire, you should use Storm, Earth, and Fire. I cannot stress enough how heavily you should abuse Storm, Earth, and Fire. This fight is a gift to Windwalkers, and you should use Storm, Earth, and Fire as much as possible. Your uptime needs to be as close to 100% as possible because it's a passive 30% buff to your damage the whole fight. All of it. It's fantastic. Seriously, if you're not using Storm, Earth, and Fire on this fight, there's something really wrong. Because it's just press button, punches normal, win meters. Come on.
Indeed.
And me personally, I like Touch of Karma for Blaze stacks.
You scumbag. You scumbag.
Every now and
No.
then, I'll dip my foot in it, get a stack or two. Okay, good. Touch of Karma. Do what? No damage.
When you got your raid leader yelling at everyone for hitting Blaze, you might want to avoid that, though. I will mention. We have a lot of defensive cooldowns that are really good for this particular fight. If you happen, there's so much that's avoidable. But in case you do find yourself in trouble, Diffuse Magic will give you 6 seconds of immunity from Blaze stacks, which is nice. Touch of Karma is also nice. Touch of Karma is nice to kind of absorb that big giant quake thing that hits the ground. The big don't stand in this.
Pulverize, yeah.
Pulverize.
Yeah.
Stand in it. You jump up a little bit, looks good. Touch of Karma will absorb that on Heroic. Mythic, you will take some damage. I don't recommend that.
Walkers is what we are here.
And Zen Meditation. You're going to want to have this on a easily accessible hotkey, because if you do take Blaze stacks, if you happen to get two, maybe you get a weapon dropped in your head because you were standing in the wrong spot and you instantly take 6 stacks, Zen Meditation might help you live through this a bit more.
I get so
Can confirm.
sad. I get so sad when I'm on my Mistweaver because I'm like, they took that away from me. So I get 3 stacks and I'm like, well, have fun, other healers.
Is there a
Yeah.
res?
It's an immediate death.
3 seconds, I'm going to need a resurrection.
So Duke, what talents do you like for this fight?
Believe it or not, I actually like taking Dampen Harm instead of Diffuse Magic. The main reason is because of Pulverize. It syncs up perfectly with the Pulverize timer. There's 3 big hits for Pulverize. You hit that, damage is gone. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't really have to move as hard because the big hit that comes last, the closer you are, the more damage it does. Well, if I need to get so far away that I can't damage the boss anymore, I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and that doesn't help top meters.
So
It
question.
does help with staying alive, but
Question is:
Sure
the
it does.
Quake damage,
Pulverize is all physical damage.
Is the quake damage magical or physical?
Nature. Quake damage is nature. Pulverize is all physical.
Man,
Yeah,
you got to go diffuse magic on this then.
Touch of Karma. It's always up for Touch of Karma.
Yeah, you, Windwalkers are the scumbaggiest class next to like rogues.
Yeah, but with I say diffuse magic because not only do you have quake going on, but you have a chance of getting a blaze. So I usually take diffuse.
Blaze is just ticking damage over time.
Yeah,
the
but if
fire
you
itself
get-
doesn't do a lot of damage.
Well,
Unless you're like literally standing it going, yes,
if
yes,
you get
burn my flesh.
two stacks, it can be deadly if your healers aren't paying attention. But
Touch of Karma.
Touch of Karma only does 50% of your health pool.
Right, and for the rest, you got Zed Med if you were a little heavy on the blaze there.
Right. But diffuse magic, you just you ignore that whole thing. So and pulverize is like as if you get far away, which we're really good at, you don't take a huge amount of damage, and you have damp or fortifying brew for that. So
defensively, defensively, might also want to look at even taking your fortifying brew, making sure you're using that to help out. You're an engineer, make sure you get that shield on there as well, 'cause that's very nice. And
We haven't talked about that on the show yet.
the glyph is also nice because you also take less overall damage, depending on what glyphs you're running. This fight is made pretty much with Chi Explosion as well.
Yeah.
Serenity is nice if you're really, really good at it, but Chi Explosion with the double dotting, and if you're able to really keep the guys together like you should, I'm a big fan of Chi Explosion. I really was a huge fan of it when I could use a Windwalker 2-piece for all the energy. But it's for a regular fight, without any of that extra mechanics, Chi Explosion really does work really well
Yeah,
for this.
I always
think.
do Chi Explosion on this fight, but my team's always stack them together except for
Yep.
Whirlwind. So if your strategy doesn't involve stacking, then I think Serenity is the obvious choice.
The one thing I think that was mentioned about the Brewmasters, and this is mentioned in Twitch chat, is if you're a Brewmaster and you're on Whirlwind, use Zen Meditation. Avoid all that
That
damage.
lowers my DPS. I can't do that. I need to do
So-
deeps.
If you're having trouble dying, for whatever reason, Zen Meditation, get that glyph, make sure you can move around, especially when you're using fire too. I mean, your goal is to hold the boss but stay alive. And at that particular point, with the Whirlwind, you know that the boss is also going to be further apart, so it will be doing more damage to you as well.
Yep.
So,
All
Scumbag.
right. Well, let's move on to the next scumbag.